Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live with me, Ed Cooper. So we are starting today on sales handling, sales objection handling. This morning for me has been a little bit crazy, so apologies, I'm a little bit late doing my live than I normally am. So my son is not very well today, bless him, so I've just dived onto this a little bit later, and I've just settled him down so that he's all nice and cozy and looking after himself and full of cowpole, whilst I do this very quick live and come back to him. So I'm now looking at objection handling today, and with objection handling, this forms part of all the sales processes that we've been going through over the last couple of weeks. Remember that May is all about sales and getting you more sales. So we've looked at the marketing, we've looked at your avatar, we've looked at some of the techniques that you can use to build your message across to people, your USP. Then we started to look at the sales process, then the sales techniques that sit within that, and now we're going to get the objections coming from our prospects before they buy from us, and that's what we're going to hit in today. I'm going to give you 7 tips, might even give you a little bonus one as well on there. So this is what we're going to be covering today, and the first one, before we get into this, actually what I really want to say is, look, when you're objection handling, there is no magic key that you can just throw out and it will magically make someone want to buy from you. But this is one key that you can take with you, and that is that objection handling is something that you should embrace, because it's opening up the conversation. It's not a no. So if someone's throwing you an objection, the thing is they're probably interested. They just need to know a little bit more. So one of the things that you want to be thinking about before you even get into the conversation is being really proactive with your sales technique and with the information that you're sharing with that individual, and handling the objections before they come up, using that material, using your sales pitch, using whatever information that you have that's there. And if you do that, automatically the questions that the person has in their brain kind of get knocked down. You're not going to knock them all down, okay? And it would be kind of crazy to put as much information out there as possible to knock them all down. But you must know the top 3, 4, 5 objections that you get, and handle that through your marketing, handle that through your sales, and therefore being proactive, they won't come up. So the next tip that I would give you is just slow it down ever so slightly. Studies have shown that actually when an objection is given to a salesperson, that when it's responded to really, really quickly, the other person, the prospect, becomes a little bit suspicious. It's almost like prefabricated, not being thought about, not taking me as an individual, unconsciously even goes on. Now it's only a small change, but that can have a massive impact in the effect that you get back from that individual. So someone throws you an objection like, oh, it's too expensive, and you instantly come back with handling that objection because you know the answer, right, to how to handle that objection, because you've practiced and you've thought of it. But actually just taking those few moments to think, to stop, to breathe, and then handle the objection is much more effective. So the next one I'm going to share with you is get clear. And what do I mean by get clear? Well, the person who's in front of you is giving you the objection. It's really easy sometimes for us to want to dive in and solve that objection. But do you really understand what that objection is from that person? And that's what I mean by get clear. Ask lots of open questions and really truly understand what the objection is that you're handling. The problem is, if you don't do that and you make an assumption, you may handle their objection, or you may handle something that's not even an objection they're bringing up. So you might misinterpret what's actually going on. So asking real clear open questions, like tell me more about that, and give me a little bit more of an example of what you mean there, or what would solve the problem for you here. Asking those types of questions really, really key. If you've ever read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, was it last month we went to BizX and in Farnborough, and we listened to Chris Voss give an amazing presentation on how to handle sales and negotiations as well. And Chris mentioned it, he mentions it in his book, that being able to take the last few words of someone's objection and turn it into a question can actually help engagement, and it can dig deeper into the real problem that's going on. So for example, if someone said, oh, the price is too high, you can respond with, the price is too high, and just stop, pause, and allow the person to elaborate more deeply. Or my boss will always say no to this. Oh, your boss will always say no to this. They've been curious, and again, just stopping, pausing, and allowing the person to elaborate just that little bit more can get you to the true reason, the true objection that's going on that you can then handle. So getting clear with the prospect, with the person who's in front of you, of why what is that specific objection is really, really important. This is one that is becoming more and more known, and we're becoming much better at it and more human. Gone are the days where you've got like hard-balled salesmen that are really pushing sales onto you. Or if they do happen, sure, some people will buy from them, but actually people are rejecting that. They're not enjoying that, and they're seeing through it, and they're repelling it. So they're pushing it away, and they just go, no, like put the phone down or whatever it might be. So as you're having a conversation, being empathetic with that individual situation is really key. Now remember this, that people like themselves. So being able to put yourself in that person's shoes, not just about what they might be feeling, but certainly what they are thinking. And if you've ever read this book here, we're reading this at the moment for our book club, To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. He talks about that in the book, a study that they did around getting negotiations through. One group of people just talked about and put themselves into a position where they felt what the other person might be feeling at the side, and the other group with thinking, they both were far better than people who didn't take that into consideration, but the people in the shoes of how that other person might be thinking was much more effective. So being able to kind of empathize and using phrases like, I understand your concern. It sounds like you are, and then kind of insert whatever's going on. It sounds like you're frustrated. It sounds like you're finding this difficult to grasp, or whatever it might be. Yeah. So really empathize with the person, and then building from that point. Now, once you've done that and you've gone through that process, actually one of the things that you can do is then look to gain permission. So it's easy for us just to sit there and go, my job as a salesperson is to handle your objections. But making a human connection with someone and gaining permission to solve that problem with them or for them is allowing you to connect at a more human level with them. So imagine this, if you say, right, I understand your objection. I've asked you a few questions. I empathize with that. I'm now going to solve it for you. My job is here to convince you and solve your problem for you. Well, that doesn't sound quite as compelling as being able to ask and build a relationship with that person, and then say, look, is it okay if I bounce a few ideas off you? Is it okay if I come up with a few thoughts that have come out since us talking together that might help you? And that's gaining permission in a very soft way. If you start saying things like, well, can I make a few suggestions? It can feel a little bit pointy, whereas actually when you're saying, look, I've got a few ideas that we could bounce around together, that allows you to take a slightly more vulnerable stance in the conversation. And that puts you both at more of a level playing field. And that's something to really consider when you're building relationship with someone. So being able to gain permission from the individual. So say, okay, if I've got a few ideas, is it okay if I bounce them around and see if they support what you need? then the person might say yes, and if they say yes, then you can do that, and you can explore a little bit more some of those ideas that you might have, but always gain permission. And whatever comes back, if it's some negative stuff that's coming back, one of the things that you also need to do as a salesperson is to learn to reframe. It's taking whatever's coming in and reframing it more into the positive. So, for example, if you had something like uh, a problem, that the person had, how could you turn that into more of an opportunity? And if you had maybe there was a weakness in that was coming up in your in the economic situation that we're facing maybe at the moment, or maybe within resources that the individual has, or maybe within something else that's happening in their business, how could you turn that into a strength and being able to leverage what you're offering to strengthen the situation? Or maybe it's poor timing. Maybe they come in and go, look, do you know what? I'd love to buy this, but yeah, can you come back next quarter? Can you come back next month or next week? And being able to reframe that into actually this now is the perfect time to purchase. So a good example might be, wow, do you know what? That product that you're selling is £1,000. We just don't have. It's not the right time. We don't have the budget for that. Could you come back next quarter when we do have the budget? And you say, well, sure, I can do that, but just to let you know, now is the perfect time to purchase, because in the next month this product's going to go up 10% because of all of the economic situation that we're in right now. Prices are going up, and I want to make sure you get the best deal. If you purchase it today, then you can have it at the lower price. Now, that's just a way of handling an objection. It's not to say you'll get a yes, but it gives and turns and reframes a negative into a positive, poor timing into perfect timing, or a problem into an opportunity to save some money. So the biggest tip probably I can give you is practice. It's being able to take the time out daily, weekly, with your team on your own, list out the objections that you get regularly. And if you get a new one, list that one down somewhere separately too. Just keep adding to that list. And over a period of time, you'll have 10, 15, 20 objections that you get quite regularly from clients that you can then put a solution to. You can put a response to that enables you to convert more highly. Remember, there is no golden key here. There is nothing that we can just sprinkle out like magic, all the objections disappear. But also remember this, that the person who's in front of you who is throwing an objection is interested still. They've not said no to you. And it's an opportunity to have that conversation. So through you practicing, through you being sharp, through you learning and educating yourself in sales, reading books like this that we have for book club that I mentioned earlier on. And there are many others. I'm just seeing now if I've got any behind me that sort of fit into sales. But being able to maybe get on some podcasts or watch some YouTube videos. Read books by Jeffrey Gitomer and Andy Bounds and people like that. You'll pick up loads of information that it will allow yourself to trust yourself, that will come up, and you'll be able to respond much better once you've practiced some of these sales techniques. And we are all in sales. The majority, 99% of us, probably more, are in sales. We're having to sell something. Maybe it's non-direct sales, right? So it's a service, or maybe it's maybe we're trying to influence people. Like, say, if you're in training development, you're working for a company, you're selling an idea, right? So you're either selling a product, you're selling a service, you're selling an idea, you're selling a vision to the team. Lots of different ways in which we sell. But if we don't then invest in ourselves and practice and learn and educate ourselves, we're not going to get better with it, and we'll hate it. We won't like it. And actually, this is the one thing that's going to get more business for you. I'm going to leave you with this. Okay, it's a bit of a bonus. And when I first heard this, I thought it's just a really nice way of coaching through to find the real problem, and it's called the 5 magic questions. So this is if you get a no. So it's to you, after all the objection handling, go, well, no, it's just not for me. One of the questions that you can start with here is, look, I guess you've got some concerns that we've not fully covered. Could you just tell me what they currently are? And just be curious. So it's like, no, I'm not interested. Okay, well, something we've not covered here. Could you just tell me what those concerns you have are? And then just listen and list out all the things that come up, because now we're getting some more objections that we might need to handle. And ask them the second question: are there any other concerns other than these ones that we have here? And if you get a no from that point, you can then say, so just supposing that, read the list, these concerns were solved, would you want to go ahead? Yeah, so just suppose for a minute that these concerns were resolved, would you want to go ahead? And if they say no, then it's easy. The question that you have then is, well, there must be another concern that you're not bringing up. Can I just ask what that might be? And if they give you the answer, then chances are that's the real objection that you need to handle and work on. If they say, yes, I would, if those concerns have disappeared, then I would work with you or buy the product. Then say, well, I guess we should invest some time in working on this. Does that make sense to you? When would be a good time, and book that time in? So those are the 5 magic questions. You can always see it's like a flow chart, right? We need to understand what the concerns are, get the list written down. Supposing these were all solved, would you buy? If the answer is yes, we need to invest some time. Can we do that? Does that make sense? If the answer is no, there must be another concern. Could I just ask you what that might be? Now, so take all of those ideas away. There are so many different ways to handle objections. I'm just sharing 7 of the ones that I think have the biggest impact for people in sales and get the best return and the best movement and improvement in conversion rates. Remember, if you choose not to handle objection, if you choose to be apathetic and walk away and just go, well, they're just not going to buy, they're just throwing objections at me, then you're not going to make any sales whatsoever, additional sales on the people that say yes. But if you choose to have a go at the objection handling, then you might get 1 or 2 more sales. You might increase your sales by 5 or 10%. Imagine if your turnover figure was 5 or 10% more than what it was right now. How good would that feel? So being able to do this and remember to flow through, be proactive, slow it down, get really clear and ask loads of questions, open questions, be empathetic both on what the person might be thinking and feeling. Gain permission, make sure that you gain that permission to say, hey, is it okay if I've got a few ideas that we bat them around together so we can find the right solution for you? Learn to reframe, turn the negative into a positive, turn the challenge into an opportunity, turn the poor timing into positive timing. Practice, practice, practice. Just give it a go. Watch this video again as you go through. And remember that bonus, the 5 magic questions that come in. So thank you for the comment coming in. Gus, lovely to see you again. Always good to see you on here, Gus. Hope the overseas in New Zealand is good. I guess you're heading in for autumn now. Love your ideas and approach. Eliminate the doubt in the buyer's mind. Absolutely. Eliminate the doubt in the buyer's mind. Get them excited about wanting to buy from you. So that's it from today. I will be back next week. We're going to carry on with sales, and next week I'm going to share with you some of the best resources that I've come across for sales, like these books, that you can dig into so that you can increase your learning and development and knowledge in this area, and therefore practice and get your skills up as well. Have an amazing rest of the day, and I will have a super week as well, and I will see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye bye.